And on Thursday, Governor Hochul announced her new lieutenant governor. That's State Senator Brian Benjamin. He's a Harlem native who went to Harvard and came back to New York to work in the banking industry. That was until he decided to move in a different direction, building affordable housing and eventually running for state senate, where he's been now for 4 years. And we don't know what he'll do just yet as LG, but he says he'll partner with Hochul on top issues facing New Yorkers.
New York State government has to work. And Governor Kathy Hochul, I will do everything I can to help you make sure that we deliver for the state of New York.
So let's talk about that and the other news of the week with this week's panel. Zach Williams is from City and State, and Kate Lisa is from Johnson Newspapers. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
So Kate, I want to go to you first. What was your impression of Kathy Hochul's first days? It's been a while since we've had a new governor, about a decade now. How did she hit the ground running here?
It was, of course, tremendous for the state. I mean, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on, anytime a glass ceiling is shattered, it benefits all of us.
Yes.
And, you know, we have a large state, diverse communities, and, you know, she came out really hitting the ground running with ideas, promising change for the culture in Albany. And I know she's got a lot of pressure because as the first woman governor, everyone's going to be watching her and seeing if she's going to practice what she preaches, and I guess, you know, the perception, how she will be received. So I hope that the culture in Albany, the transparency, more collaboration between levels of government does happen the way that she's saying, and we'll have to see how that goes.
I hope so. Hope springs eternal. Albany is definitely not known for being transparent. So hopefully that changes with her. You mentioned diversity, and I will point out, just for our viewers, I frequently walk around the second floor, which is the governor's floor in the state capitol, and immediately, since she took office and since the transition began, I've immediately seen many more people of color on the second floor, which was something I didn't expect to happen so fast. Zach, what should we expect out of Hochul's first days in office beyond this week? I'm talking about like the first 45 days, first 2 months. What's she planning?
Well, her number one task is to show she's not Governor Andrew Cuomo, that she's the first female governor in state history. She's going to reinvent the place, battle sexual harassment, and really just set a new tone of politics in state government. But she also has some challenges right from the get-go. COVID-19, she spoke a lot about issuing a mask mandate through the Department of Health, and of course supporting local governments and school districts with vaccine mandates. There's rising crime is also a huge concern that we saw in the New York City mayor's race specifically. And really she just has to show that she's in command, that there is continuity of government, and that people can expect a less tumultuous upcoming months compared to what we've seen over the last year or two.
Goodness, I hope so. You know, with the previous administration, just speaking as reporters, sometimes it was very, very difficult to talk to them about stories, really about anything else, and more importantly, to get data from them. It was a nightmare to get data from them sometimes, especially from the agencies that just didn't have the quick response because they would have to go through the second floor, through the Cuomo administration's press people to get approval for everything. Kate, how do we see Hochul handling that with the press? We're all journalists here. Do we see a change?
Well, first off, I mean, she did mention that FOIL requests, Freedom of Information Law requests, would be, I guess, expedited, at least compared to what we have seen in the past. We'd seen delays, stalls for so many different reasons, and, you know, kind of we would be stuck in limbo, like not much we could do about that sometimes unless they want to work with us. So that's enlightening, or I guess encouraging. I hope that that's what happens. And there's supposed to be she said that all the state agencies will have to look at themselves and their transparency. And she's saying that she wants those, you know, the departments to issue reports more often, or you know, details remain to be seen, and hopefully we will get those in the coming weeks here. But yeah, I hope this is a new era. I hope that this really, I mean, as you mentioned, the culture did already feel a little differently. I mean, even how people were walking or speaking or just interacting with each other. So hopefully that will, you know, translate to more transparency for us and then for New Yorkers as a whole.
I hope so too. It was all very tense with the Cuomo administration at times, both for us and both for staffers in the administration. I filed my first FOIL request with the Hochul administration on Wednesday, so The clock is ticking. We'll see what happens. Zach, is this just a honeymoon period? Is this just a time where Governor Hochul is coming in, making a lot of big promises, saying a lot of nice things, and then in a few months, we might see her become more like past governors? Maybe not a Governor Cuomo, but maybe somebody who realizes that they can't get everything done that they want to.
We're undoubtedly in a honeymoon period. It's very exciting. The first female governor in state history. Again, we cannot discount the significance of that. At the same time, though, she's really benefited from the timing. Back when these scandals erupted against the governor back in the early spring, we were really wondering, are we going to have a new governor a week before the state budget deadline? That's no time at all to transition to office, much less make really big decisions and negotiations with lawmakers. Now she has several months before the going really gets tough with the new year, state budget, the new legislative session. So I think she does have a little bit of space. And we heard from Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie and State Senate Majority Andrea Stewart-Cousins that they would kind of give her a little bit of time to get her team together. The new governor herself said that she's looking at a 45-day transition period. But for now, everything is sunny in Albany. It's summertime. Everyone's happy. But we'll see how things look in a couple weeks.
So I want to stay with you, Zach, for a second. Let's talk about Brian Benjamin, the state's soon-to-be lieutenant governor. I don't remember when she said he would take office. It might be another 2-week transition. Zach, what do we know about Brian Benjamin as a politician, as himself? How will he fit into this role?
Well, he adds to the historic significance of the administration as just the second black person to be lieutenant governor. Can't discount that either. It's not every day you have so much diversity in an administration. Right. He's been in the state Senate a few terms. He comes from Harlem, deep connections to the Manhattan Democratic Party, ran for city comptroller, came in fourth. So I think you really got to take him in two ways. One, he matches the personal style of Hochul really well. He's kind of seen as a nice guy in the legislature. But at the same time, she needs to run for a full term in office immediately. The primary's in June, so she just has a few weeks, a few months to really set the terms of the coming campaign. And it looks like she is focusing on downstate. Those are the voters she's going to need to beat likely challengers like Attorney General Letitia James. And selecting a LG and presumptive running mate seems like it will give her some inroads to black voters specifically. So, all in all, it seemed to be a choice that made a lot of sense for her.
Yeah, excuse me. I think that he will be good in the city for her, and I know to win the governorship, you need New York City. There's no way that you can lose New York City and win the governorship. But as far as upstate, Kate, do we see Brian Benjamin appealing to voters upstate? He is obviously very New York City centric. I don't know whether he's traveled upstate at all, where he's been outside of the 5 boroughs, except for Albany, of course. How do we see him appealing to upstate voters next year in the election?
Well, so of course, the Republicans were very quick to come out and highlight his history of supporting some really far left policies for criminal justice, other things that he has, I think, championed, like affordable housing and things like that.
And he's in favor of the defund the police movement, they say.
Right.
I will say I actually do not know what his position is on that, so take that with a grain of salt. But sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely, right. And that's all what we have to all be mindful of and watching and seeing if any of those positions have evolved, how they have. And I do think it will be more difficult for him in those upstate communities. They are traditional Republican strongholds, right? And change is difficult for some of these people. And this is a lot of change at one time. So I guess, I'm curious to see what kind of changes will be made that are kind of in the middle. There are many that could benefit all of us, like the transparency that we talked about. So perhaps there's a chance to bridge that divide or that tension a little bit, but I'm hoping that that happy day that we have in Albany, that sunshine, right, maybe it can stay a little while.
We'll see. We got to leave it there. Kate Lisa from Johnson Newspapers, Zach Williams from City and State, thank you both so much.